know someone who is looking to level up in life, leadership, and manhood? A new book delivers 26 powerful lessons on character, mentorship, and building a lasting legacy, one letter at a time. Let's welcome Rezsaun Lewis, author of the new book, The A to Z Guide to Becoming Him. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, first of all, your own personal story is just so beautiful and inspiring, and you are just the quintessential masculine figure, I think, that every young, up-and-coming young man should have in their life. I mean, you sound like a wonderful family guy, but also you lead by example, don't you?
Yeah. I definitely try to. Me and my wife have 6 wonderful children, 4 girls, 2 boys. And so it's very important to me to set a good example and to be a positive male role model. With that, in addition to what I do in the community in terms of mentorship and youth development.
Yeah, so tell us, so before we get into your books, tell us about what you do in the community and how you've sort of established yourself as a mentor.
Yeah, so since 2016, I've been with Low Country Youth Services, which is, we have 4 mentoring programs, 2 boys, 2 girls, 2 school-based, 2 community-based. And what we've tried to do as an organization is to create a space where young people feel safe and feel loved and feel like they have a community that belongs to them. And then once we make them feel like they belong to the community, we make sure that they understand that the community is theirs as well, and that there's so many great resources that are available to them, not just mentorship, but jobs, internships, educational opportunities. There's so many things that they can do. So everything that I do is really rooted around making sure that youth have what they need to be successful.
That's wonderful. And it sounds like you have just yourself, your own philosophy of creating a wholesome environment for you and for your family. What are families missing today that we're starting to see it just sort of evaporate, and you can see it in the result of the children that are without those strong familial ties?
The village. We're missing the village. There was a time where we felt a sense of responsibility for one another as a culture and as a society. There was a time where I think about my mom who grew up, so I grew up in a community where my 2 grandparents lived right around the corner from each other. Literally, I was a 5-minute walk from my other grandmother's house, and every house in between my 2 grandmothers' houses all were a part of my village. They were all a part of my upbringing. And so each of them had the ability to correct me because they all had the ability to feed me. If I was hungry, they would feed me. If I didn't have something, they would clothe me. And we used to have that as a community, and we've lost that. And the more we lose that, the more we become isolated within our homes and siloed, the less likely that we are to have this village where I take care of your child because your child is a part of my village.
That's right.
And so I think that's been a big part of the dissolution of the family.
But truly, I mean, we all have a vested interest. But do you find as well that the culture of your neighbor correcting your child has now become offensive rather than helpful?
Yes, but it's because there isn't the trust built in the beginning. Right? So I can't correct somebody I don't know. These are things that are supposed to happen in a village that make sure that we are still working together and loving on one another and supporting one another. But it doesn't happen because, like you said, it becomes an offense. But the offense is there because there isn't the relationship between the families in the first place.
That's right. The very little trust and no communication. I mean, you can't build trust unless you communicate, right? So that's a good point. So tell me what the inspiration was behind this book, The A to Z Guide to Becoming Him.
So
love the title.
Thank you so much. So so when I became a father, I always wanted a son. Right, I always wanted a son, and my first 3 children were girls. I told you we have 4 girls, 2 boys. My first 3 children were girls, and so when I finally had a boy, I said, great, I have a boy, and now there's so much I want to teach him, right? And then I realized as he got older that, one, there was only so much he could learn right then. So I wanted him to have some kind of guide that he could use if something were ever to happen to me. What did Dad stand for as a man? What did Dad believe in as a man? What were the values that made him who the person that he was? And not only did he have them, some he aspired to. So in my book, I actually talk about the fact that some of these aren't things I've mastered yet. This is not me saying I'm a perfect, fully formed human being. No, I'm a work in progress, just like most men are. So
it's very humble.
Right, and I think that when we come from that standpoint, we can teach better.
True,
So in my book, I'm actually talking not only about myself, but I'm talking about the powerful, very important men in my life that have molded me into the person that I am today, and the values that they've espoused that made them amazing role models to me. I also expanded out to a worldview where I'm not just talking about local, but I take a theme like generous, and I talk about how LeBron James is known as a basketball player, but he's also a philanthropist who gives back to his community and takes a great value in that. So I try to make sure that this is a tool that anybody can pick up and read and grab something from.
Yeah, I love it. And then tell us about this book real quick, so I need answers Answers, what is this one
So
about?
I Need Answers Volume 1 is the first book I wrote. I released it in 2021. That book is actually like an anthology of stories. So it's not, again, when I write, I try not to write about me. I actually interviewed 27 different men about their life story through the lens of whether or not they had a positive male role model and how it impacted them as husbands, fathers, and members of their communities. So that's 27 different stories. And the final, my final interview was actually of my father. My father, I interviewed him July 18th of 2018. He passed away a month later.
Oh my
so
God.
literally,
Oh my goodness.
the story that you read in
precious.
that book is actually one of my last conversations with my dad.
How
So
precious.
that's an important book to me because, again, as you mentioned earlier, I value the conversations around manhood and
Yes.
role models and being in kids' lives and understanding what are the ramifications if we don't.
Absolutely. Perfect. All right. Well, folks, I do encourage you to pick up these books. Thank you so much, Rezsaun,
Thank
for
you for your
joining
time.
us. Yeah, my goodness. We'll have you back.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll be back after this.